Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Anna.
And we are Geek on Review. And this is our first video review of a television show, so please bear with us while we learn. Tonight we're reviewing The Walking Dead, episode titled Remember. Basically what our goal with our television reviews is going to be to tell an honest review. Do a little bit of a recap, but review honestly. A lot of the reviews we see on YouTube, they're either completely positive, can't find a single flaw with the show, or completely negative and all they do is shit on it. We're going to try and be as honest as we can. If we don't like something, we're going to say we don't like it. If we really like something, we're going to say we liked it. So tonight's episode, this was actually, had a lot of laugh moments.
Yeah, it was a lot of levity and kind of cheering it up a bit. It's been so serious and down.
It took him a little while to find the tension. It was about, I guess, 40 minutes. The first moment of tension that we really found in the episode was Jesse's husband kind of almost stepping up to Rick a little bit about giving his wife a haircut. Kind of staking out his territory.
Yeah, kind of claiming his territory almost. Like that.
Claimed.
Claimed.
My first thought when I saw Jesse was she's the new Andrea.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Andrea's still alive. And Rick and Andrea are together. And I thought, oh, pretty blonde girl. She's kind of maybe interested in Rick. Maybe she's going to fill that void now. We'll wait and see what happens with that.
And I didn't realize how much I shipped Michonne until I saw her and I was like, no, that's the new Andrea? No, Michonne's supposed to be the new Andrea. I'm still rooting for Michonne.
The other thing, right away, we know Rick sees this community as very weak, and so does Carl. And it seems like they're right. They're trustworthy people for the most part, aside from the one Aiden, that prick. And maybe Enid. I don't know what's going on with her yet. Although, in the comics, Carl and Sophia kind of have a thing. And of course, Sophia's dead in the show.
Yeah, so she could be the new Sophia, who's taken that place. I'm
thinking they're prepping us for future relationships with this episode. It's kind of it's a lot of foreshadowing right now of future relationships.
But for the most part, it is a weak community. Their group, Rick nails it on the head, or not Rick, Glenn nails it on the head when he tells the group at the end, the venturing party, that they were assigned because they know what they're doing. The people who were doing it before, that's why people were dying. It's because they don't know what they're doing. They've been living behind walls. They've been safe. They're weak.
It's a game for them.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a game. Yeah. Let's see how many walkers we can kill when we go out. Let's see who can bring back the most food. It's a game. It's not real.
Yeah. The other thing I thought when we first meet Deanna, which actually in the comic, the leader of the Alexandria Safe Zone is a man, and I forget his name, but Deanna is the leader of Alexandria in the show, and my first thought was, she looks just like Mary from Terminus. And I don't know if they did that on purpose. I would love if somebody's read an article or anything about it to see if they did do that on purpose, if they cast that actress because she maybe looked a little bit like Mary, like Denise Crosby. I thought that was a genius move, even if it was an accident.
Yeah, it is genius, because it gives Rick's group even more hesitation. Like, they've already had the governor, they've already had Terminus, like, they've already had all these things that appeared good, not be good, and then to go somewhere and it appears good, and now this person looks like the head honcho from one of the places that appeared good but wasn't good, so they're kind of puts them on their guard a little bit.
I have to give some props to Andy Lincoln for his performance in this episode. Specifically, his the scene where Deanna's interviewing him, because you get a close-up on his face from the point of view of the camera she's filming with, and his eyes are very hard, he's very leery, you can tell he doesn't trust her. But then, when she tells him what time it is, and he winds his watch for the first time in forever, you can see his eyes just soften, and then a little hint of a smile, like he doesn't smile with his mouth, but his eyes suddenly get a little happy. And I thought, man, Andy nailed that scene.
That was some great acting.
We talked about Jesse and the husband. He's going to be trouble later on. Daryl in this episode.
Yeah, Daryl is very transparent. He's not, like the others are very good at caging back, reining in their emotions, and hiding how they're feeling from the rest of the community in order to fit in and gain intel and information. And Daryl he's not. He's not
happy.
No, he's not happy. He's got animosity. He does not trust them, and they know he does not trust them. Everybody in that community knows that he does not trust any of them, and he thinks this is all just a big giant mistake.
And we'll see how that plays out as the season unfolds. How Daryl adapts to the community. Can he adapt? They've already exiled 2 people.
Yeah.
Is this maybe a little foreshadowing because Daryl maybe can't follow the rules? I'd hate to see that happen.
Yeah.
But especially since they've already done that with Carol.
Yeah,
they've already exiled Carol. It'd be a little repetitive. I'd hate to see that happen.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do that because that's going to the well one too many times, I think. I hope they don't do that.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of Carol, though, she adopted a complete persona for this community. She lied in her interview, like saying, oh, she misses her husband. She said multiple times.
Talk about what a wonderful man he was.
Yeah, talking about how he's such a wonderful man, and she's mentioned multiple times how she, she's glad that things worked for a reason and that he was not a wonderful person. Like, she sees that now. So she totally lied, and I think it's an infiltration method. I think, personally, that she was trying to be bubbly and kind of like a social butterfly type persona so that she gets put in a job where she's going to meet the most people and interact with tons of people on a day-by-day basis and kind of get a read on the community and a read on the people and be able to figure out who's going to be trouble, who's going to not be trouble, who's strong, who's weak, who might possibly back them up if shit starts to hit the fan, and who's going to be cast out when all hell breaks loose.
And her job is cooking for old people. What do old people love to do? Gossip. Yes. That's what they do.
She's totally intel.
Yeah.
She's the spy master.
I just thought of that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like we talked about, there's a lot of laugh moments in this episode. Almost too many. I thought that it was too light of an episode for a long. I mean, like I say, it took 40 minutes for there to be any real tension in the community, which I understand they kind of had to do it that way because, I mean, if you walk into the community and immediately you're like, okay, I've got a bad feeling about this person or this person or this person, they're going to leave. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, to keep the story that they're telling going forward, it had to be kind of an uplifting episode until they hit that first moment of tension, and then it escalates. Yeah,
escalates a lot with the raiding party, I guess, for lack of a better term. What are they?
The patrol or whatever.
Yes, the group of people, the 2 guys who are going out and gathering food and stuff, they are trouble. They are definitely going to be trouble, and they, like we mentioned earlier, they have no idea what they're doing. Glenn was spot on while talking with them.
And he decked that guy.
Oh my gosh.
What a payoff.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes in that entire episode. Was this guy totally looked at Glenn and pictured him as being weak. Yeah. And swung on him. Missed because Glenn did some awesome Super Matrix shit and ducked out of the way, and then gets decked, and it was. And then Michonne steps up to him. Marvelous.
She's like, "You want to get knocked on your ass again?" And then of course Daryl jumps in and full on Luthez presses the other guy and almost choked him to death. Rick had to come bail that dude out. Yeah. So Daryl's already, I think, got a strike against him now after that.
Yeah, probably. But what that also did was a lot of the community was there watching, and whoever wasn't there was there. Of course, they're going to hear about this whole situation afterwards. It shows that community that these people are a family and that they are looking out for each other. Don't mess with them, because they're not going to take your shit. They will all be on you if you mess with one of them.
What would Rick say?
They're fucking with the wrong people.
Let's see. We talked about that. We talked about that. Yeah, I took notes. This is probably... I took 2 years of French in college, and this is more notes than I took for that. Who has the blender gun?
Yes, who has it? I think it's the little girl. What's her name?
Enid.
Enid.
There's
oh
Enid,
my God.
and then there's Aiden. That's going to be a problem.
Enid. Enid. Speaking of Enid, Carl sees her before they even go in. She's outside the fence. I don't think he knows that it's her. He just sees somebody, and I think he assumes it was his imagination.
Or maybe a walker.
Or maybe a walker or something like that. And then he meets the group of kids, and then when he sees her climb the wall, and he goes after her and follows her.
He puts it together.
Yeah, he puts it. I think he puts it together anyway. That was her. She's for some reason sneaking out, and I kind of have a theory on that. Well, I kind of have a theory on that. I think that because she's been there 8 months. If she had a group and they were going to do something, they would have done it already.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think she doesn't want to get weak. I think it's the same thing as Rick's group.
She's out there.
She's afraid to get weak, so she continues to go outside the fence so that she doesn't get weak. Because they're absolutely right.
Keeps
if you stay inside that
kind of thing.
If you stay inside that fence and you have everything given to you like before, you're going to get weak and you're going to be as useless as when it happened.
The community's really become complacent.
Yeah,
with the exception of maybe Aaron and Eric.
Yeah, they're out there all the time. Yeah. And even the two guys who go out searching for food, they're not exactly complacent, but they're still, I mean, they had mentioned before, they evacuated that part of Virginia pretty early in the turn, so there's not many people and there's not many walkers. So, you know, yeah, they might not be as complacent as the rest of the community, but I mean, really, how many walkers are they dealing with? Do they encounter on their little trips?
That big herd they ran into on Highway 23 is probably the biggest herd around.
And it was kind of a ways away. I mean, it was far enough away that when they got in the RV,
halfway there yet.
Yeah, they weren't halfway there yet. When they got in the RV, it was enough time for them to drive far enough for the battery to die, even though he had said, "Oh, I think we got it," you know.
They hadn't even gotten to D.C. yet, right?
Yeah, you know, I think that herd is probably a good distance away from that community.
And all right, so okay, one thing that I thought was a little weird, and you made a good point, but I still want to bring it up. Carl wanting to spear that the walker that was on the ground at the very end, I thought that was a little weird. Like he almost enjoyed it or something, like he almost got off on killing walkers or something, but you brought up a really good point.
Yeah, I am thinking that Carl needs to hone his hand combat, close up, melee, yeah, because I imagine that when they're out in the group, Rick wants him to use his gun when they're facing walkers. He doesn't want him to use the knife. There's a lot more danger when he uses the knife.
Get that close.
Yeah, so I think it was more of a, wait, Dad, you're already good at this. You use your knife all the time. I need the practice type thing. Although, I think that's why Rick let him do it, and he might be a little right on Carl getting a little too complacent with the killing.
Carl always has Judith now.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't get his hands dirty that often anymore.
Yeah, so maybe he was just jonesing for a walker kill.
Yeah. I'm tweaking. Okay, my one real nitpick that annoyed me about this episode. Why the hell did Noah get assigned to patrol? He can barely walk. Why? I thought she could read people.
Not only why did he get assigned patrol, why did he accept patrol? I mean, he's gimpy. If they get attacked by walkers at all, he can't outrun them. The rest of them can. He can't outrun them. So like, why? Yeah, that's kind of it. Like he's bait. I mean, what I'm thinking is that they encounter so few walkers out there that they just completely disregarded that aspect, and that's he was in that hospital for so long. He probably has some sort of recognition of medications, and so that's a helpful thing for the patrol. But I'm still, I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, like when they're out searching the houses and shops and whatever they come across in their 53rd mile out radius, he's the one who's most likely going to recognize which medications to take and which ones to leave. Right. But still, I mean,
I would really hate to think that was bad writing, because overall I really enjoyed this episode.
Yes, this is a really good
episode. And for them
to
fall off at the very end with Noah on patrol.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that it's they just don't encounter that many walkers on patrol, and so
not that dangerous.
Yeah, it's really not that dangerous, and so they don't understand.
These guys who are on patrol really suck, because if it's not that dangerous and they lost 2, they've got to be really bad at their job.
Yeah, which is kind of another, hey, hoorah, Glenn. He nailed it on the head there.
Which, I mean, would just kind of extra double down on how weak this community is.
Yeah, that there are people who go outside the wall are so weak that they wouldn't even be able to survive out in this new world that there is.
Not the way the main group has.
Yeah, no, not the way the main group has.
Right, that's all our talking points for this. I think we should probably do some predictions for the next episode.
Yes, predictions.
My
favorites. We're almost always wrong, but it doesn't matter.
I think we're going to see Rick's group not necessarily become the villains of the show, but get really close to it.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a villain aspect kind of cast on them.
At least like, from the perspective of the
Yeah, they're not going to, I mean, they're obviously not villains. They're not bad people, but they are so anxious and tense in this new community with good reason. I mean, come on, all the shit they've been through. They have good reason to be tense. That they are going to do things that come off as not exactly good. And, you know, living in the zombie apocalypse without having that community, what is considered a good person is kind of different than now. I mean,
a good person will help you mow your lawn, or help you rake some leaves, or whatever. A good person
gives you some food because they notice you don't have any. That's not the zombie apocalypse. The zombie apocalypse, if you have extra food, you're hoarding that and you are not giving that away to anybody else. If somebody's struggling carrying something, helping them is probably not the first thing that pops into your head, because, well, there goes your hands if some walker comes up. I mean,
a good person in the zombie apocalypse is a person who
is a zombie.
Doesn't kill you on at first sight. You know, he doesn't kill you on sight. That's a good person in the zombie apocalypse. He waits before he robs you.
Yes.
And he doesn't take your shoes.
Yeah. And I think that I just got that he doesn't take your shoes. Rick took his shoes. Sorry. I think that there's going to be some big issues with Daryl next episode.
Yeah.
Daryl's typically a forefront in the show, and this second half he kind of hasn't been.
He's been in the background
He's been in the background quite a bit, which is actually kind of refreshing, because you can't just have a character thrown at you all the time. You need them to step back and see the other characters.
Yeah. Especially with an ensemble cast this large.
Yeah. But I think next episode is going to have a lot of him in there. I really, really want to see what exactly Carol's up to. I know she's up to something, and I think we have it spot on where she is doing basically recon and learning about the community as much as she can so that she can use it, which Rick's little speech in the camera where he says, you know, that people nowadays, they see what they can get from you or what they can take or whatever, because it's all about survival. That's spot on Carol. That's what she's doing. She is infiltrating this group to see what they have that will benefit her family. Yeah. Because this group, it doesn't matter yet. They're not family.
In Rick's group, Carol is probably the most cold-blooded.
Yeah, and in her interview, she totally comes off as the most bubbly and
meek.
Yeah,
which she's
and
not
weak. Yes,
meek and weak.
She comes off so weak.
Season 1, absolutely, she was. Now,
yeah, season 1, yeah, but I mean, come on, Carol Bow saved the day.
Yeah.
From Terminus. So yeah, I think I want to see what's going on with her. I want to see exactly what her gameplay is, and I want to see that I'm right, that she's looking out for her group and finding out how this community can benefit them.
She started dressing the part
of
a frumpy little lady.
Yeah, she dressed about 20 years older than she is.
Yeah.
She was dressing like my grandma, but she's doing that on purpose. She wants to appear weak. And I mean, even Daryl called her out on it, telling her she looks ridiculous. Yeah, and she does. She looks ridiculous. It's totally not in her
there was
age
a
group,
little bit of flirting between Daryl and
a little
Carol.
bit.
She's like, I'll
hose you down in your sleep.
Yeah, that was it. So the Carol Daryl flirting is back. Is that a foreshadowing of a possible relationship there? Now, last thing, then we're going to wrap this up because it's getting late and I know we're both tired. Carol got exiled by Rick. If Daryl gets exiled, does Carol go with him?
Yeah, because if Daryl had been there when Rick exiled Carol,
he would have left with her.
I think he would have left with her. You can't exile somebody from the group by themselves. They need somebody to look out for them.
I would be okay with that if they took that route. Even though it's a little repetitive with somebody getting cut off from the group
via
but
it's different because they have somebody going with them. And I could see Carol doing that, but I could also see Carol not doing that because she's got to look out for the largest part of her family. She's all about protecting her family, and more of her family would be staying, and he's the only one who's leaving.
I think she would go.
I don't know. I don't think she would stay.
I don't know
if she would go. But if she didn't go, I think she would try to get somebody to go, like somebody else to go with. But I think I don't know. She kind of like when she said she was the den mother. I think she was kind of right. Like she might have been joking or trying to play the part, but I think she kind of is the den mother. They're all her kids, and she's looking out for them. But
Daryl's her favorite.
I want Daryl to be her favorite, but whether he is or not, I don't know.
All right, any parting words?
No.
I think that's all we have for this time. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you get the inspiration or whatever to post a comment, tell us we did good, tell us we suck. We want to hear your feedback. Just don't be too mean.
Yeah, this is our first time.
if we suck, be like, okay, you kind of suck.
Hey, constructive criticism. Don't tell us we sucked. Say, you did this incorrectly, maybe do this next time, or this fell flat, do this next time, or, constructive criticism. Tell us what's not working, what is working. Hopefully something's working.
We really hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week.